On today's show, the Lakers get a big win in overtime against the Clippers. Was there a little home cooking? We'll talk about that. Who's in trouble? And it's Jordan Poole's world. We're just living in it. On today's Locked On NBA. Let's go.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You are locked on to the NBA. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On NBA your first listen today, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and then comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section, how's your team doing? What team are you here representing? How's your team doing? How are you doing with these late nights with basketball? We got a real good pat yawn. Just that it is 1 a.m. Central Time. Just the biggest yawn. He tried to cover it up.
Hide it too. I tried to hide it. I tried my best.
That was like when your dad tried to cover a fart and he goes, like. Everyone knows what was happening. Everyone knows what's going on with it. Oh, on today's show, we'll get into
basketball's back, baby.
We'll get into who's in trouble. The Grizzlies are 0-5. Locked On Grizzlies is going off. You go listen to Locked On Grizzlies. They're amazing. Joe, DeMichael, really great good duo. Love them. They're doing a great job on that show. Are they in trouble? We'll talk about them. The Heat 1-4. Wes and David Ramil doing a great job on that show too. Then we'll play Count It Up, where we count up the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including Jordan Poole, man, just having the most wizard season so far.
Throw it off the glass,
NBA.
baby.
Talk about that. Tobias Harris making some big dough, and we'll talk about that. He just set a record. Jokic has some advice for Chet, and we'll check in on that a little bit later. But I want to start here. The game of the night, at least to me, Lakers Clippers, the battle for LA, comes down to overtime. Just some wild stuff, some back and forth stuff. Really great game. Andy Kamenetsky from Locked On Lakers tweeted, I'm torn between whether I want the Lakers to win this game or I just want this game to go on forever, because it was just such a fun game of just back and forth. Paul George, 35 points. Kawhi, 38 points in this one, but the Lakers end up getting the win, score 13 points in overtime, forced overtime, by the way, after the Lakers were down by 19 in the first quarter. Just like such a back and forth swing of a game. LeBron James, though, I mean, what more do we say? He's about to turn 39 years old, 35 points, 12 boards, 7 assists, played 43 minutes. Darvin Ham, tell me, I thought we were going to play LeBron less. I thought we were going to play LeBron under 30 minutes, and yet he plays over 40 in this one. What stood out to you in this Lakers-Clippers game?
I thought it all came down to that fourth quarter battle between him and Paul George. It really got good at the end of that game. I mean, LeBron James in that fourth quarter, I can't say looked like prime LeBron. Here's the thing. I love this because LeBron now looks like grizzled vet LeBron. Like, remember, like Wolverine at the end of the X-Men series? It was just
Logan, in the Logan movie,
he looks like Logan right now. It's just like, I'm old, but a mutant, and I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, and it just... You see the game has evolved so much, but it's still so elite. Seeing how he drove to the basket in that fourth quarter. He put up 12 points. And then the three-point shot that Bron knocks down was just ridiculous. But Paul George, I mean, being the catalyst of this Clippers team, and we talked about it before we got on here, right? Like, if he doesn't end up fouling out in this game, right? Like, this game could be a completely different outcome. That's how much of an impact he made. Both of these guys pretty much played the full fourth quarter. I thought the most interesting thing, though, was something that was brought up in the broadcast, and was the one thing that I noticed was it just took Paul George going nuclear for the Clippers to be able to get back into this. I'll be very interested to see kind of what Locked On Clippers end up saying about this, because it feels like even though they have Paul George, even though they have Kawhi, even though they have Russ, in that fourth quarter, it didn't feel like they really knew, okay, what are we running this time down? Who do we get the ball to this time down? It just kind of was like a hodgepodge of moves. Russ knocks down a three. Kawhi gets the ball off a rebound. Like, I'll just go back up. It didn't feel like they had a system where the Lakers felt completely locked in and LeBron felt like he had control of that entire fourth quarter going into the overtime.
The Lakers were locked in because they were like, we're just going to spam the same thing over and over and over again. We're just going to spam the LeBron pick and roll or whoever else pick and roll with AD and just do that over and over again. And I mean, they got away with it. Like, they were able to do it.
That's LeBron. That's LeBron. We've heard Iman Shumpert talk about that. We're like, nope, we gonna keep running it until they figure it out.
I mean, it worked though. That they got the points in this one. Paul George, 20 points in the fourth quarter.
Elite. Absolutely elite. I mean,
the Clippers did though. It looked like, especially that third quarter, they gave up the lead. They only scored 24 points.
Yeah,
they do look like they need some kind of table setter, some kind of to keep the flow of the offense. And we thought it was Westbrook, right? We thought Westbrook was going to be that guy in this one. And if only they had another guy that was an elite scorer that was now going to join this team that now was going to be that led the league in assists last year. If only they had that kind of. I wonder if he takes away any juice from what Paul George's game. I don't think happens if James Harden is in this game. And that's sort of why Darian of Locked On Clippers is lamenting the James Harden thing and not a big fan of it at this point. But it was wild to kind of see, man, these two guys, Kawhi and Paul George. By the way, Kawhi played over 41 minutes. When's the last time that happened? You think?
And listen, they are running these boys. I remember Kawhi said, not good. Now they can't stop me from playing. Or they're going to let you play now, bud.
Yeah.
They're going to let you play now. No,
I thought you were earning the paycheck before.
Yeah. I thought that it was a very, even going into the overtime, I thought the second Paul George left that game, it was very prevalent. It
did nothing else. It was just Kawhi.
And then Kawhi, I'm not gonna lie to you, and watching the overtime, did it not feel to you like Kawhi didn't want the ball in his hands? I would think that's the time I want to go to my guy, and it felt like Kawhi was just like, well, I'm existing and whatever happens here. I mean, the one big shot that he hits, right, the floater over the middle where he gets the N1, he just kind of got the rebound on that, or no, he just ended up kind of driving in off of the rebound and just threw that one up. And it ends up going and he gets the N1. It felt like there wasn't okay, now that PG's out and we don't have him to cook, you're our guy.
In his defense, does it ever look like Kawhi wants anything? Has that ever been, if you're going off facial expressions, is that something that we've ever seen?
Well, usually we see him go to the ball.
The thing is, though, he's the only one that scored for the Clippers in overtime.
Yeah.
He had 6 shots. Westbrook had 3, and they were all not good. Zubats had 2. Bones had 1 that was just a 3 off an offensive rebound. He was just happened to be wide open, but nobody felt like nobody was going to the ball. They need that extra guy. Paul George had Bennett in the fourth quarter, and they did need that extra guy to give him that extra oomph. But the Lakers got it. I mean, let's talk about the Lakers side of things. Reeves was huge in the overtime. Reeves scored 7 points for him. Hit that N1. Had the play where he attacked Norman Powell and Powell, fouled and then got fouled out and. That whole sequence came down to, so Paul George fouls out with 4.5 minutes left in the beginning of overtime. Then Reeves, attacks Zubats. They kept doing that. They kept running Austin. They kept running Anthony Davis on screen so that they get Zubats and switches. And it's the same thing that every team basically seems like they do against the Clippers.
Yeah,
is try to get Zubats in these runs. And then you had the play where Reeves throws it up to LeBron in transition. That's the play. If you're talking about LeBron looking vintage, now his son, Bronny, was in the stands going crazy on that.
Yeah.
after that play. Then you had Westbrook, Wood gets the block on Zubats with 1:20 left. Westbrook then fouls for no reason.
What was that?
Okay, he fouls for no reason. They go into the bonus then, and then Reeves, hits a jumper against Powell, and then the next possession for the Lakers, then Powell fouls Reeves, and he gets to go to the line because he wasn't shooting, but he gets to go to the line because they were in the bonus at that point, and that kind of put them over the edge, and that was the big difference maker in overtime. Westbrook misses a 3, Bones misses a 3, and then Wood gets that putback, and that basically seals it.
Yeah,
I have to say this though, there's just something in me that just cannot believe that this is a Lakers team that's winning a game like this.
Yeah.
In overtime that felt like a playoff game with Cam Reddish and Christian Wood and D'Angelo Russell all playing very integral roles in this team. There's just something about the basketball analyst in me that goes, I cannot believe this is happening.
I love that I felt bad too because Christian Wood gets the putback, and I instantly texted you Christian Wood ended the game. Sorry.
He had some great plays. And honestly, he had some great plays for the Mavs too. It's just that he's got glaring weaknesses, but the Lakers with AD are able to cover those up a little. It's the combination for me. It's not just that Christian Wood did well, or that like Reddish was closing. It's that they have Reddish and Wood and D'Angelo Russell playing all like at the same time. All guys that have, been prone to make mistakes or take bad shots or not play defense, and all that stuff. Like it's just been covered up by LeBron and AD. They make it so easy for those role players to fill in.
Which coincidentally, those three were the order that for some reason Russell Westbrook said, I have to play the hardest defense in the world, and eventually fouled someone. Like that was the order that it went in. They literally just passed the ball in a row. And Russ was like, that's the weirdest foul. I can't wait to hear what Darian says about that. He's usually a Russ supporter. I'm sorry, there's no supporting that. Like it looked like Russ was like, my knees hurt. I'm tired. I want to get off the court right now.
With the Clippers too, they started Bones Highland with Westbrook, Paul George, Kawhi, and Zubats, and I wondered if that's like, are we simulating James Harden? Is that a placeholder for when we put James Harden in? Also, we should have mentioned PJ Tucker, who just started. Like this is his first game, was playing deep into this one too. Ended up playing like 20 minutes or something. Yeah. Was playing late. A great win for the Lakers, though. I mean, you take them where you can get them, whether it was weird with the Paul George fouls or not. But a great win for them. So they finally win. I think it's the first time they've won the Battle of LA since the bubble. They play 4 times a year. That's a lot.
I think you're right on that too.
That's what they. I think Dave Pash said that
on that. Like that's
the ESPN broadcast.
That's tough. That's a lot of losses in a row. Oh, dog, I muted the broadcast. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You couldn't take Bob Myers.
I can't. Oh my god. No, you know what? You know what it was? He was like. There was like 45 seconds left, and the Clippers were down 3 in the fourth quarter. And he was like, you really need to foul here. And I instantly muted the TV. I was like, I can't take it anymore. I don't know. What are we talking about?
Coming up, who else can't take it anymore? Who's in trouble in the NBA? We'll talk about that and get into it coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. You can go get to Prize Picks right now and find pick the more or less on a projection of players. You can combine it NBA, you can combine NFL. Baseball is over, go Rangers, but you can check out all that kind of stuff on FanDuel. They have a Prize Picks. You can get all that kind of stuff. With basketball season here, you can now pick combo projection across football and basketball with the Specials League, a league that it's created specifically for combo projections. So you can go to Prize Picks and pick LeBron James, more than 24.5 points. Patrick Mahomes, more than 300 yards. You can do all that kind of stuff, combine it, have fun on a day where there's NBA and NFL happening on the same day. Check out that. They also have a reboot policy. If your player gets injured, they can get rebooted. Check that out. It's a really cool feature. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA, being part of the show and listening every day, being an everydayer. We have a daily Locked On show that covers your team daily. Check out the link in the description to find a show that covers your team every day. Got Locked On Lakers, got Locked On Clippers. They're doing great stuff over there on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about a team that is not doing super well. Is it already time? Are we already in trouble for the Memphis Grizzlies?
Oh,
they lose a game tonight. They go to 0-5 on the season with a loss, and not just any loss, almost 30-point loss to the Utah Jazz, who had not been good and only scored 109 against the Utah Jazz team that had not been a good defense. Thoughts on the Memphis Grizzlies so far and how bad it's been for them as a start?
You know how bad of a start to a season you have to be when we're talking about you before we talk about a team that got beat by 51 tonight? Like 0-5 for Memphis is actually impressive. And you know what? I continue to look at this one piece on the team, and I know that, right, like it's not a major name, but I think the loss of Steven Adams has really thrown them off because Jaren Jackson at the 5 has never been a really successful spot for him. And I think that we're still seeing those same effects now. I mean, like, I get it, right? Like he's able to put up 19 points tonight, but he was a -25 in the plus minus tonight. Like, yeah, and you continue to see him pretty much most of this season it just feels like he's really struggling to find his groove out there. And he's the one who was kind of one of the major pieces when Ja Morant went out last time, where there was this catalyst of, okay, who are we going to rely on scoring wise? We have a couple of other pieces, but who can we focus on? Jaren Jackson was able to get that done. We're not seeing that, and there's nobody else right now that seems to be able to go out there and help with this Memphis team. I mean, like, it's a tough start to the season for sure, and I don't think that it's going to be the end all be all, but I do believe that as long as you have Jaren Jackson at your 5,
they don't got that.
You're doing a disservice to how good he can be. They need to find somebody else that can play center down there.
Well, they tried Xavier Tillman. The problem is he's like 6'9". Like,
he's not
I don't like not really either. Center size at times for them. And he's not giving them a whole lot offensively either. They took 54 threes in this game. The Grizzlies, like, that's not a team that takes
14 for 54 in this game, ladies and gentlemen.
But you're right in that Jaren, like, their superpower used to be they destroy you on the boards. They got Adams boxing out like crazy. They have Jaren Jackson roaming around and grabbing rebounds. They have Ja that would run around and grab rebounds out of the air because he can jump out of the gym, right? Like, they had these guys, and then they'd play somebody like bigger on the wings or something.
Yeah,
and they just haven't had that. And I mean, their defense has been until this game, really. Their defense has been good. Their defense has been fine. Like, with you got Marcus Smart, and you got Jaren Jackson, the last 2 defensive players of the year. The problem is they can't score at all. Like, they can't put it together. Desmond Bane, 21 points in this game. You're like, oh, usually, like, okay, that's a good Desmond Bane game, but like, he's got to step up into that role. Jaren Jackson's got to step up into the next role. Only 19. He was 5 of 17 in this game, and he's not been that great offensively. Like, you needed those 2 guys to take steps forward to become like elite level offensive players, really, to carry the rest of this team, because that's what they've had from Ja Morant in the past, and then everybody else falls in like files in a suit. So they're missing that. That's been a huge problem. The other problem with them, they don't have Tyus Jones as the security blanket anymore.
Yeah.
They don't have, like, they would have Steven Adams with their superpower with the rebounding, and they have Tyus Jones to like even keel everything's, table setting, to do that, to come in. And he was an amazing guard off the bench for them last year. Now he's in Washington, watching Jordan Poole do the things we'll talk about Jordan Poole's doing later. But they lost both those guys, and like that. And now, I mean, they're so injured right now too. We should mention, like, Steven Adams out, Brandon Clark out too. So they lost a ton of their size. Santi Aldama out for that. Like, so much of their size is gone.
Yeah.
Ja Morant still suspended. Derrick Rose was out for this game too, and he had been a guy that had at least been giving him some points off the bench. They get Luke Kennard back, but he goes 1 of 8 from 3.
Welcome back.
Yeah, well, welcome back, bud. And then you get 19 minutes from Kenneth Lofton, who apparently came into the season 300 pounds, which is,
I mean,
beefy.
Listen, he was a big boy the entire time. I don't know, like Kenny he was never not big.
They start 0-5. Are they in trouble? Because
I don't know if I'll say they're in trouble, because when Ja Morant returns, there's a ton that I think does happen, and there's a ton of time left for them to turn the season around. We're like, they're not going to go 0-25. If they go 0-25, they're in trouble.
At this rate, they'll go 0-25 before Ja comes back, and then
if they go 0-25, they're in trouble. We're having a very different conversation.
Okay, wait. When is the season over for them? They start 0-10. They start 0-15.
No. 0-15, you start to get like, all right, but like,
that's the line. That's the line where you
get... listen, if you start off a season 0-15, I think you're making decisions based on what the draft may look like at that point. Like, I don't know.
We're 33% of the way there. We're getting there. We're a third of the way to that with the Grizzlies.
We almost got it. No, but I don't think that they're all the way in trouble yet, because I think that when Ja Morant does return after the 25 game, unless they like just continue to be horrible the entire time, which I don't expect, but I guess that's yet to be proven. That would be the only situation where I'm like, yeah, they're in some serious trouble here. 0-5.
I don't know. You sound a lot like Jason Kidd last year when the Mavs were about to miss the playoffs, and somebody was like, "Hey, when will you be concerned?" He goes, "We'll be concerned when we miss the playoffs." And then they did miss the playoffs. Like,
well, that's because Jason Kidd is just watching. He's just a fan like us.
That is correct.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
Here's their next. Here's the Grizzlies' next 2 games, though. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Portland.
Winnable.
Miami, who's 1-4 right now. Utah. Got to get a win out of one of those four. Like those are four.
Besides it's Miami. Portland back to back.
Yeah, Portland twice. At Portland.
They should be 2-5 by the end of that.
Okay, you got to beat Portland twice.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched Portland. I was like, oh, let me turn on Portland. They're a nice young team. I forget who they were playing. I turned it on. I was like, I take back the nice part. They're young. They technically do play for a team. And Scoot Henderson has not gotten off to the start you would hope for.
That's like,
do not look up.
Yeah, they're pretty nice.
Brazil.
They're nice, but they're not.
Look up Trailblazers Brazil right there.
Mike Richmond having a good time over on Locked On Blazers. I hope you racked up some of the views over the summer with the little trade.
Yeah,
it's going downhill for you, bud.
It's tough.
On that
it's a tough time over there.
All right, coming up, let's play Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA with the best drop everyone always loves.
The drawer shut makes it worse.
It does. It's so bad. I'm gonna keep it though because it's funny. We'll talk about Jordan Poole. We'll talk about Jokic's advice to Chet and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel has you covered with all kinds of props and odds and lines. And right now, they have a deal where if you put down $5 and you get any win on the $5, you get on a money line bet, you get $150 in bonus bets. So you can go right now. I've been promoting this. There's no personal reason why I've been promoting this, but Luka is now tied for the highest MVP odds right now. Plus 400 for Luka, plus 400 for Jokic, plus 700 for Tatum, plus 900 for Giannis and Embiid, and then Curry's behind with plus 1,000, and then there's big drop with Booker plus 1,800, SGA plus 1,800. You can go check that out. You can put that down. If you want to get the bonus, though, put the money line down on one of these games coming up, and you can get that at FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NBA season, the NFL season. The app's so easy to use, a wide range of betting options, like all that kind of stuff. But if you put down $5 on that money line bet, you can get $150 in bonus bets. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, Pat, let's talk about Jordan Poole. Let's talk about Jokic's advice to Chet and more kind of stuff with that. With our segment, Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. All right, first one, Jordan Poole this week was on a fast break. Actually, tonight, he was on a fast break. He threw it off the backboard to Kuzma for a dunk. And you think, okay, fine. The problem is they were down by 20 on the road in the third quarter. My question is, are you for it or against it?
I hate the drawer. Who cares?
They're
down 20. They're down 20. Who cares?
Down 20 on the road. You're not even giving your home fans a good show. You're like, all right, that's like the Washington Generals doing like a spin dunk.
Yeah, sure. They're a terrible basketball team.
You're
and they do terrible things. Like I don't care. Like my team's up 20. What am I like? My team clearly didn't care. If they cared, they'd have dropped Jordan Poole on the next play. Like no one cares about him throwing it off the glass to go down 18, right? Like it was what was that in the Western Conference Finals? Chris Paul hits a big three to cut it to 30 or whatever. Like the YouTube.
Oh no, that was the conference semifinals, and it was against the Mavericks in Game 7, where Chris Paul hits a three to cut it to 42.
Yeah. I mean,
one of the greatest moments in Locked On Mavs history.
I mean, like who cares? Like he hit a three, he hit it off.
You're
the
fine
glass.
with it. You don't.
I could care less.
Okay, so you're not gonna play like old man yells at Cloud and says,
"Nah," because they're not. Here's the thing:
down 20.
If they were a respectable organization, maybe I'd have a problem with it, right? Like if it was the Miami Heat, but it's the Washington Wizards, right? Like I could have told you guys that the Washington Bullets did this, and you'd have believed me just because you don't care what team you hear about and why. I could have told you that Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders threw it off of the glass. Nobody cares. It's Washington.
If they were a respectable organization is killing me right now.
You've never met a Wizards fan in your life.
We employ two of them, Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott.
Have you met them in person yet? Boom. Exactly.
They're AI. I always knew Ed was AI generated over on Locked On Wizards. I knew it. Yeah. This team is giving the the JaVale McGee, Andre Blatch, like Jordan, like who was it? Jordan Crawford, or who was the one on the
I would have loved the announcer in the building to just go right after he dunked it, just go. That's pretty much what that was. Yeah, I mean, I mean, you made 2 points. Good job, bud.
Speaking of, Jordan Poole, again in a different game, threw up a swaggy P3, which is you throw the 3 up and you turn around because you think you got it and you're looking the other way and you realize that you missed it on the way back because you're running back and he missed it. My question is, over under 4.5 of these we get from Jordan Poole this season, where he throws the 3 up, he turns around and he completely misses the shot.
I'll tell you what, my most improved prediction is looking bad with Jordan Poole. I'll tell you that right now. I'll say under. Because I don't think that he's gonna throw too many more of those up.
Oh, you don't?
Knowing that he is now always going to be a meme. Because not only did he turn, see, here's the thing with Swaggy P, he turns, does the look, throws the double 3s out, looks back, he missed. Oh, Swaggy P looked at the bench. Or, I'm sorry, Jordan Poole looked at the bench.
The opponent's bench. He was right in front of him.
Don't you look at my bench and then I gotta look at you and go, hey, bud, 1, you suck. 2, your team sucks. 3,
like, hey, you missed. The thing that made the Swaggy P one so good is the camera angle right behind him, like literally an over the shoulder shot where you see the basket over his shoulder and it's right at him. And then he turns around and faces the camera and does the money 3 thing. And then he missed it, turned around and realized it all in like 2 seconds, a perfect like GIF of it.
Jordan Poole still thinks he made that shot.
Give me the over on this. He takes 7 threes a game. That number is not going down anytime soon. Give me more. He's doing more of these. It's gonna happen.
Now he may do more of the I'm gonna walk away, but not the I'm going under on the like confidence to look at the bench and start talking trash.
Yeah, maybe not in front of the bench, but definitely the turnaround and miss the 3 for sure. Yeah, Jordan Poole right now, averaging 17 points, playing 27 minutes, shooting 24% from 3, 38% from the field, minus 12.5 on the plus minus.
Maybe Steve Kerr was onto something with that one. I don't know. About
2.5 assists, 3.3 turnovers. It is not going well over there for Jordan Poole.
How's Chris Paul doing?
Chet, it's going much better for Chet Holmgren, but he played against the Nuggets and it did not go well in that game. Nikola Jokic had some advice for him. He said, he's a really talented guy, but in his first year, he's still learning everything. I think he needs some experience. I think he needs to be a little bit fatter, to be honest. My question is, are you with Jokic? Does Chet just need a little chunk? Add a little fat to it.
I kind of want to see how this plays out. Listen, he'll never be able to stop Jokic. He'll never be able to stop Embiid. Like there's no scenario where that will happen. I think that learning his body and learning how, okay, I can't bang on the boards down low with you guys, but maybe I could do something to tip the ball out. Maybe I could do something to find a way to get a block shot.
Yeah, that's his game right now.
That's his game pretty much, right? Like, and just figuring that out at the NBA level. I want to see it because the one thing that we've seen and it did not work is the guys that are like overly tall and they have more weight. And the problem would always be the knees or the feet would go, and that was the end of their careers. You'd be like, well, there go the feet. That's a death sentence. I kind of want to see how like him and Wemby and who's the other one, Pokashevsky, and he's not getting any tick anymore. But like some of those thinner, big men that are out there right now who are, basically centers in the NBA now, the modern NBA center. I kind of want to see how that ends up going because it's very interesting to see the other end of it working so well. But we saw starts to careers for guys like Yao Ming, very similar to this, where it was like, oh, he's 7'6" and elite. I kind of like this. And then the body didn't hold up.
Yeah. Everybody talks about Chet putting on muscle and then how much muscle he's added and things like that. But I don't know, maybe eat some Twinkies. I don't know. Like put on some weight. It worked for Jokic, working for Luka.
Yeah, he's got to be a 3-point shooter. Like he's
he
a 3-point shooter in block shots. But here's the thing: he's never gonna have enough weight to compete with any of them. So how much weight are we talking about?
Just tank it. You're just like, okay, it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, just play to what your body style is. What is he? He's like 195 pounds, or is he over 200 yet?
Say there's a 1 in front of that probably.
Is he over 200 yet? Like, I think Wemby's 220, but like outside of that, like I don't think Chet's over 200. Like,
wasn't there a report around the season where it's like Chet has added muscle to his frame? He is now 205 pounds. And you're like, oh, okay, come on.
No, my favorite thing was, remember with that, they sent out like the shirtless picture. And I was like, he looks exactly the same. And guys were trying to convince me like, no, he's definitely more swole. He put on a ton more muscle. He's 207 pounds. He's got a 2 in front of it now. So he looks like he came in 195. He's added about 12 pounds of muscle.
He looks like Christian Bale working on a movie role is what it looks like.
They look like, never mind, you're not going to get the reference. Right. I was going to say he looks like 50 Cent in that one movie where he lost all the weight, but it's okay. It was straight to DVD. Don't worry about it.
Oh, and there's a joke on 30 Rock about that movie that the Black Crusaders tanked the movie because they didn't want to make black people look bad.
It was a Tracy Morgan
starts freaking out about it.
It was a really good movie.
Let's do a classic radio segment here right now. Can you humor me for a second?
Let's do it.
Tobias Harris has made $211 million in his 12-year NBA career. That's the most money made in NBA history for a player that has never made an All-Star appearance. $200 million. And he's only 12 years in, so he's got more. Robert Horry made $53 million in his time in the NBA. So Tobias at 211, but it's going to go up. Robert Horry made $53 million, but he won 7 championships. My question is, what career would you rather have, Tobias Harris or Robert Horry?
Give me Robert Horry.
You'll take the $53 million in the championships instead of, I mean, he's going to make $200 million more than Robert Horry did. $200 million.
But I think with Robert Horry, there's always chances to make money post NBA career because you have 7 championships.
What's Robert Horry doing? Robert Horry is on Spectrum Sportsnet right now.
Hey, like Robert Horry can make some money. He can find a way to make some money. You know what I mean? What I will say is this about Tobias Harris. After he's gone, we will like every now and then remember Tobias Harris and go, oh yeah, remember Tobias Harris? He's a nice player. I like Tobias.
Remember that dude that dude made $300 million in his career.
Yeah, that's all it's gonna be. Now, listen, it's not bad. I'm not mad at $300 million, but I'm also not mad at $53 million. Like, it's not like Robert Horry's out here like, change, please.
I think I'm operating from the point of
I'll sell you my ring for some change, sir. It's not Robert Horry right now. It's not what we're getting here.
The difference between 50 million and 200 million is such an abstract number to me that like 53 million would completely change my life and my whole family's life, right? Like it would change everything.
I think here's the tough part, right? If I'm going to be a role, like you basically gave me, do you want to be a role player on a winning team or a role player not on a winning team, but you have more money? Give me the role player on the winning team. I want my career to be more fun versus less heartbreak.
To be more fun.
Yeah, like at least what Kenny Smith say, right? He was like, I spent more money because I was depressed because my team was always losing.
Tobias Harris never been to the conference finals, by the way, either.
Yeah, I know. Tobias Harris over me? It's the greatest Jimmy quote of all time.
he's played for 12 years, and he's only been to the playoffs 6 times out of those 12 because he played for Detroit, Milwaukee, Orlando, the Clippers.
I forgot about Detroit Tobias. I completely forgot about Detroit Tobias. That's a good one, yeah.
And they didn't go far. Now for Philly. So there you go. Congrats to Tobias Harris, the most money made ever by a player that's never made an All-Star team.
I love the bread. Get your money right.
Never an accolade either. Like never a. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Jimmy Horry.
Sorry, I'm incorrect.
What gross accolade are you about to say?
2017, November, Player of the Week. 2018, November, Player of the Week. 2021, January, Player of the Week. November 2018, Player of the Month.
Hey, here's the tough part. The gaps. It's insane that you're giving.
It's literally November of 2017, November of 2018, then skip 2 years. Who knows what happened? He was hanging out with Boban during that time.
The gap is insane, bro. It's just like you did nothing in this time. And the tough part is I feel bad for Tobias because I do think he's a better player than
$211 million.
No, but I feel bad for him because, like, in my mind, I'm like, give me Robert Horry because like Robert Ory's done more. Tobias Harris was relegated pretty much for the last 5 years. Go to that corner and shoot. And it's like, you guys know I can make a layup, right? No, you can't.
He's about to get a chance right now.
We'll see. He's playing all right to start the season. Let's see what they can go do.
Go check out your favorite Locked On NBA teams show. We've got them. Check the link in the description. I host Locked On Mavericks. Pat hosts Locked On Bulls with Hayes, and listen to that kind of stuff. They just lost a game. I don't know to who, but they lost a game.
It was a tough one. It was a tough one.
Over on Locked On Mavs. Locked On Bulls. He had 18 points and 2 assists.
Yeah, tough 18.
Go check out our shows, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA.
Bye bye.
Boom.